Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you guys all the swag bag stuff and merchandise I bought at PSX and all the goodies they handed out. And then I'm going to do a review of the entire conference. Things I liked, the things I didn't like, the things that I loved, and what I hope that they will do next year, and if I liked it or not. So let's get to it. All right, so I'll go through first of all the all right, first so I will show you all the stuff I actually bought with my own money. First thing I bought was I went to the Double Fine booth and got this kick-ass Double Fine shirt with a two-headed baby. And I have to tell you, this is my favorite shirt that I bought because it is so comfortable and it's got long sleeves. It's really well made. But here it is. And it's got long sleeves and nothing on the back, just plain. That is my favorite made shirt. And I'm like, I already wore it like twice already. So my next shirt that I bought, because you know I'm a t-shirt addict and 99% of my wardrobe is gaming t-shirts, so you know I couldn't leave without one of these, is my Days Gone t-shirt. You know I'm obsessed with that game. I can't wait for it to come out. You can see the Ben Studio logo on the sleeve and the Days Gone logo on the front. And the back is really cool. It's the Mongrels, Farewell Original Mongrels, the logo that is on the logo that Deacon has on the back of his motorcycle vest for the Mongrels, which is the name of his motorcycle club. You know, my most anticipated game of whenever the hell it's going to come out, definitely not 2018, but it is The Last of Us Part 2. And in the back, it just has the Naughty Dog logo. And the last shirt I bought was the Death Stranding. So Death Stranding shirt from Kojima Productions. They had a few shirts there and I was like obsessed. So it was really hard for me not to buy everything that they had for sale. And I was shocked that we were actually able to get in for the PlayStation store, because last year we couldn't even get in. The lines were like 4 hours long and they weren't even letting any more people in. They did a better job of it this year. They did like a double shop. So there were two shops there. So you at least had a chance to buy some merchandise, because last year I was furious I wasn't able to come home with anything. But here is the shirt that came in our goodie bag. I love how they did the constellation. There's God of War, there's Days Gone, there's Horizon Zero Dawn, and there's the symbols. And I was there. Different shirt this year. Every year they do a different theme, and this one is really cool. Blue is my favorite color, so I was happy that it was all blue. And let's see what else we got at the show. We got this cool God of War lanyard. You can see this. If you went through the walkthrough experience that they had for the God of War booth, since they didn't have any kind of playable demo, which I thought was really cool they did this year, what they really haven't done in past years, is that you were able to go through like an experience, a booth setup of it, which was so cool. Also, I have a Dreadnought Hunter Pack code. If you guys want, I have two of them, the card for it on PS4. I have two of them if you would like the code for these. But if you're interested in having the codes for this, just leave me a comment and I will, or even on Twitter, follow me on O.C.Deidre, on O.C.Deidre on Twitter, and I will DM you the code. So do it on Twitter. And whoever I get the message from first, I will send out, because I only have two. So whoever gets to me first, just to be fair. So let me know if you would like those codes. I save all of my lanyards and my passes. This year they did it the same. There's the early bird on the PlayStation experience on the lanyard, and our scanner for all the stuff that we had to log into. I will add it to my collection. I really am digging the whole constellation theme they have going on this year. Was really cool. Also, they gave us this really heavy duty like coffee mug, which is pretty cool. They really stepped it up from last year. They had the water bottles with the logos on it. This has got like the constellation logos on it. Really kind of heavy duty. Like, this is like well made shit they gave us. So I was like, that's pretty cool. And here is the usual PlayStation bag. And that's the usual PlayStation bag that they give us. Every year it's been the same. They haven't changed it. It's the orange and blue. Also in the bag is every germaphobe's friend, the antibacterial spray for all those nasties who don't wash their hands when they're out. I am such a germaphobe, so I really appreciate that. So it was the shirt, and also we have this gorgeous poster, PlayStation Experience. So here are all the logos on it. Very cool. Dropping everything. And every year they give out cards. There were not a lot of cards this year. I didn't get to collect too many. Little case if you want to like carry them in with the PlayStation logo on it. Hard to see, it's all black. And here are some. This was the first one I got, was the Days Gone. Look at that, gorgeous. Look at my decon. And this is the back with the same constellation motif on it. Then the God of War cards. I mean, these are gorgeous cards. And they're, they just have the PlayStation logo, and it's the iridescent or the holographic logo, and the title of the game is holographic, and backs are all the same. And this was just for PlayStation Experience. Just everyone got this one. It came in the bag with the goodies. Oh, here's a Double Fine sticker I got for buying my shirt. Look how cute. Double-headed baby. Two-headed baby. Here is the Far Cry 5 with Boomer the dog, who was adorable. I got to play this demo at PlayStation Experience. Really fun. I can confirm it is a lot of fun. Here is one from MLB The Show. You know I am not a sports person. I do not play sports games, but this is just still a gorgeous card. I don't even know who that person is. I couldn't tell you. I only know like Derek Jeter. Like, I'm so sports challenged. It's not even funny. And we got one bronze trophy. Here's one of the bronze trophy. That's the last of the cards that I was able to collect. They really ran out of them so quickly this year. I think that's all the stuff that I got from the conference. I think that's all the stuff I bought. So this year at PSX was a lot different. There was no keynote address. There was no keynote videos or announcements, which we didn't know until after we bought the tickets. We bought the early bird tickets to go. But the one good thing they did have a Friday night event, but it was more like panels. Kojima was there. Cory Barlog from God of War from Santa Monica Studios was there. Herman Hulst from Guerrilla Games was there. So that part was brilliant. Instead of breaking it up into like separate panels like they would have had during that Saturday, this was the Friday night event, and that part was great. And then Greg Miller came on the to talk with Shuhei, which I love the both of them, but I have to say it kind of dragged a little bit. It could have been on my part because I was so exhausted. I recorded the Video Game Awards. I watched the whole Game Awards. I recorded my reaction to a bunch of things, but the only thing that I was able to get up was the reaction video for the new Death Stranding trailer. I literally had no sleep. So when we, went to fly, it was like very early flight. It was like a 6 a.m. flight. We were exhausted by the time that show was like almost done. So we were like exhausted. So I don't know. I don't think it went over that great. A lot of people were not like that thrilled with it, but the first half was pretty good. But it wasn't a crazy announcement like reveals. I had hoped that we would have some hard release dates for the games they announced at Paris Games Week, but really nothing that I was interested in, that I was like hoping we would get like firm dates. So none of that, which was a little disappointing. The theater was gorgeous that they had the event in, where they had all like the main events and the panels. After that Saturday, since there was no need to wake up super early to get there early to make sure you have a seat for the keynote, we kind of just were like, so far back in the line. But once they opened the doors, it moved pretty quickly, and it was set up really nicely. They had a huge showroom floor. It was like almost triple of what we had the year before, which was really nice. So you didn't feel like everyone was on top of you or the lines, and it was just overcrowded. There was more people there than the last 2 years that I went, but at least you didn't feel like everyone was on top of you and it wasn't too overcrowded, which I really liked. Another thing they did this year, which I was so thrilled about, was that they had actual experiences set up where even though there were no demos of certain games like Days Gone and God of War or Spider-Man, they had experiences where they had these elaborate booths set up where you could go and take pictures and like They were like scenes from the world of the game there, like the Days Gone booth and the Detroit Become Human and the God of War. Like, I mean, but the Days Gone booth with the freakers, they had actual people dressed up as freakers coming for you. And they had the freaker bear. You could take a picture on Deacon's motorcycle. You know, I was shook because that game, I am so freaking hyped to play. It was incredible. So there was so much to do there. You can take the pictures, you can walk around in the world, like even on the ground. The Days Gone booth, I shouldn't even say it's a booth, but like their whole setup, they actually had gravel on the ground, so you felt like you were walking on the roads, the gravel roads of the world of Days Gone. Like they thought of everything. They had like notes like "Freakers Stay Out," spray painted on the wall, and the lighting was gorgeous. They had smoke coming from a crashed like pickup truck. They really went all out. It was my favorite thing of it was my favorite booth of the whole entire show because I'm a huge Days Gone fan and it hasn't even come out yet. I'm so hyped for it. So that was my favorite thing to see. And if you've seen my recap video, I did like just like the video montage. You see me, I'm like laying on the ground with one of the freakers. I'm up against the fence and one of the freakers is trying to grab me. It was insane and it was so much fun. And actually to get to sit on that bike, I was shook. So that was my favorite one. My second favorite one was Detroit Become Human. So the Detroit Become Human setup they had was actual androids, people in the outfits of the androids. They had the blue lit up. They had the lighting of on their temples like they do in the game. You were able to take pictures of them. You were able to stand in the booths like the like almost like, you know, like the Barbie doll, like in the packaging, you were in there like, you know, buy your new Android today, only, you know, $8,000. And you could stand there and pretend you were one of the androids for sale. And if you spoke with them, they stayed in complete character. They were like, have a pleasant day. Like they would just like so in character. And they looked the part. They were on the whole time they were there. It was so much fun. Their costumes were exquisite. God of War had like a walkthrough experience. I just saw actually they had the whole experience. If you want to see what it was like, I think PlayStation has a video up on their channel where they'll show you how like you walk through and there's audio and then there's pictures and a little video and it's like a Disney experience almost. And then when you go finish walking through, you come out in a room and there are the artifacts of Kratos and Atreus and some of the weapons, and they had actual actors who were dressed as Atreus and Kratos there. It was insane. It was so well done. And the glass cases they had the artifacts in and the weapons, it was stunning, like to see it like in real life. They were so detailed. Another setup they had, which I tried my hardest. I mean, I tried about 10 times over the course of 2 days to get into this one, was the Uncharted escape room of Nate and Elena's attic. And it was so gorgeous. I was able to get some video. If you want to see my montage video, I included it there. I was able to peek in with my camera and take some pictures and video of it. It looks like the exact room in Nate's attic, and with the collectibles, you had a certain amount of time where you can go around and find all the treasures that Nate had stashed up in there. But when I tell you, the setup they had this year was a kind of disappointing thing because you can do everything through the app. They said, okay, at 10 a.m. we're going to start accepting reservations to play the demo of Detroit Become Human, or of all these different games that they had there, and the panels and the signings. And the second the second that time hit, if you weren't already on it and within the first, I would say between the first 10 to 15 seconds, not even a minute, not even 30 seconds, everything was filled up because everyone went on at the same time and was just, get me into anything, anywhere. I don't care what time, I'll be back, and they were filled up. So every time we tried so hard to get into these signings for Naughty Dog and The Last of Us, and they had a signing which I was so hoping to get into, but it was not to be. And the Uncharted signing, there was no way. I mean, they were filled up in 8 seconds, and we were trying, like you could see it filling up instantly. So that was my big complaint. Also, what they had was lines were for these certain experiences or demos were capped. If they didn't have a reservation system set up, you would have to wait online, but they wouldn't let it get longer than maybe 30 people. Now, to me, I was like so upset about that because they're like, you can't even wait online to get in here. Like, you'll have to try again in a half hour or an hour or whatever. And then when you got there, like, my thing is, if I want to wait online for 2 hours to get into something, that's like my choice. Like, as long as I know, like, it's one thing if you're waiting online, you're like, oh, it's 10 minutes. Oh no, it turns out to be 2 hours. But if you know it's going to be a 2 hour wait and you want to desperately see that thing you came to see, I have no problem waiting online for 2 hours for something that I really want to see or play or watch or, get close up to. And that was the biggest disappointment that I have to say was between that and making the reservations and the line capping. I feel like if you want to wait for 3 hours for something, you should be able to wait for 3 hours for something. It's one thing if you don't know it's going to be 3 hours and you're like, oh, I missed out on this and that. But it was good to wait because then you're like, all right, I can't even attempt to stand here. Let me go wait online for something else. But it was really hard to get in to play a lot of the demos and to see a lot of the things. They had the line capping and they had where the reservation system where don't even bother waiting online to go play something and it was never like that in past years. So I guess it was good in a way because you didn't waste your time waiting online for 4 hours and then it maybe got cut off and you couldn't go actually play it or something. That was my issue. Another awesome setup, they had a demo that I wasn't able to get into to play, was the Inpatient, the people from Supermassive Games who made Until Dawn, which was one of my favorite. It was the first game I ever played on my channel, which I love that game. I did a replay of it on Halloween, I think 2 years ago. Their Inpatient setup was incredible. They had looked like the sanitarium because it takes place at like a prequel to Until Dawn. And they had a sanitarium door set up and you look down the hallway and it's like the black and white checkered floors of the sanitarium. And they had people in white coats, lab coats you'd walk in and they'd put you in a wheelchair and they were like 8 curtained rooms and you would they push you into one of these rooms and you'd play the VR experience. So it was like the full on experience. Unfortunately, I was not able to get into that. But I really appreciated all the hard work and thought they put into that because it was beautiful and it was so immersive. So that was really cool to see as well. So my final high point, my favorite thing was the panels. I couldn't go to all of them. There were like 5 the first day, but I did go to 3 of them. The first one I went to, which a game that I didn't even know was going to exist until Paris Games Week, was Sucker Punch's Ghost of Tsushima. And it looks incredible. It looks gorgeous. I was so in from the second I saw the trailer and I loved it. And let me tell you something, this crew have worked so hard on this game. They've put so much love, care, and respect into making this game. They talked about they actually went to the island of Tsushima, I'm not sure if I am not saying that right. I'm just going to let you know right now. I am not saying it right. They actually went there and it almost blew their cover on the game they were working on because a local paper wrote about them coming there. But the most shocking thing that I got from this panel, besides all the love and hard work they put into it, was that they actually had real life horses on the mocap stage in the mocap getup and gear, and they used real ass horses to mocap their scenes in the game. I almost said movie, in the game, and so they could get the real feel of the animals, and it was incredible. And no animals were harmed in the making of this game, they said, so no worries. The footage they showed, the art, the concept art, and the videos they showed were stunning. It was gorgeous. I mean, this game is going to be so beautiful to play, just like Second Son, infamous Second Son was. I loved it. I played that game before I had my channel. But it was stunning, everything they showed, and I'm so thrilled and excited to play it. So the Uncharted panel was the next one that I sat in on, and it was a typical, I think every year they've had some kind of Uncharted panel at PSX the last 3 years that I've been there. And this one was no different. Nolan North was there, the whole crew, everyone that's played like a major part in the game was there. Nolan North was there. He was cracking wise, being his fresh self as he usually is. And Emily Rose, and I tell you, she got so choked up talking about her experiences, how she got the job, and how, I mean, it's all online. You can see it on YouTube. and how her life grew up around playing Elena. And within the 10 years from when she started, you know, she got married, she had children, like her life grew up around this character. And she got so emotional. It was so touching to see, to be in the room and be with them all. And I cried, and it was so emotional. It was such a great panel to see how much love and effort and hard work they put into making this game and creating this game, bringing the characters to life. It was a beautiful, beautiful panel. What a send-off for the 10-year anniversary for Uncharted and the Uncharted crew. So the last panel that I sat for was the Last of Us Part 2 panel. And I was, you know, these three panels were one right after the other, so we were just waiting. We stayed in our seats, and let me tell you something. In the stadium seating that they had, there was not a bad seat in the house. Everyone, no matter where you sat, you can see everything. It was perfect setup for, you can see the people on stage, and they had, you know, like, of course, the huge screen, so in case you know, but there was not a bad seat in the house, which I really appreciated that. But the last panel was The Last of Us Part 2, and as we're waiting, you know, the whole stage is dark, and I see a roadie or somebody bring out 2 chairs, and I was like, they're gonna come out. Troy and Ashley are going to come out. They're going to do something. I had no idea what that was gonna be. They're gonna come out and sing. And damned if I was not right, they came out and they started to sing. And I was like, oh, I was like already like crying. But like I was so, I couldn't believe they were coming out and singing. First, Ashley Johnson started singing, and you could, like, first of all, in that room, in that moment when they came out and they started to, and Troy Baker started to play the guitar, there was not a sound in that entire arena. Filled. It was packed. It was packed with people, and you could hear a pin drop. That was so incredible. Like, it was that, I had the chills. You just knew it was like something, it was going to be so special. So Ashley Johnson starts to sing, and she starts to, you can tell as she's singing, she's getting emotional, and these feelings are overcoming her, which made the performance even more special because she was so overcome with emotion, and she just really let that emotion come through in her voice and her singing, and it made it even more iconic. That's all I could say. And then when Troy Baker opened his mouth and started to sing, and the voice that came out was Joel's voice, I could not breathe. I was dead, deceased. I could not even handle it. I was like, oh, I was like freaking out. I could not believe he was singing in the voice of Joel. This is definitely going to be something that they're going to have. This was like an iconic moment. And I could not believe I was actually there for it, being such a huge fan of the game. And I'm so hyped for part 2 to come out. There are no words to explain how excited I am for this game to come out. And he got so emotional. He got choked up as he was singing the song. So like, imagine they know what's going on in the game so far, as we know that it's about 50 to 60% done. I don't know if that's in chronological order, whatever it is, it's about halfway done. So they know stuff that we don't know. So the fact that he was even getting emotional as he's singing it was such an iconic gaming moment. It kind of reminded me of when they had the one night only live performance of The Last of Us on stage for that one night. And after the play was over, they didn't show it to anyone unless you were there live. They did the song with Ellie, Joel singing to Ellie, or Troy singing to Ashley. So this was on that kind of spectacle. I thought it was just iconic. It was such a moment to be there live. I was so choked up. It was a beautiful moment, and it was the highlight of the entire experience, and I'll never forget it. So that is my recap of this year's PSX. I know this got a little long, but there was so much to talk about. Overall, I was so thrilled with it. I felt it was a good experience. It was not better or worse than last year's. It was just different. Last year's keynote was so explosive and so filled with like so many reveals and release dates and so many things. And the panels were incredible. I felt like you had more of a chance to get in on the signings and stuff like that last year. This year, it was more of a spectacle. They had more hands-on stuff you could do with games that you couldn't play, which was really fun. And the arena itself was much more grand and exquisite than it was last year's. And it was, to me, it's just as good, just in a different way. So I did not like the whole reservation thing set up because you really had no chance. There was no chance to get in. Handful of people. They only had a certain amount of times and days that you could come in. But thankfully, Danny was able to secure one spot, like on the very last playthroughs of the demos. They were only having it at certain times for Detroit Become Human. And he gave me his spot so I could play it. So, I mean, thank God that he did, because I literally would have left there in tears if I could not have played that. It was so much fun. I wound up saving Connor. I wound up saving the girl, and I wound up saving the android. It was such an experience. I can tell you by playing it by myself, it's going to be beautiful. The game is going to be so stunning, and like you can feel the tension and you're going to feel everything in the game. And I'm so excited it's coming out this spring. When in spring can be from March to June, who knows, but I'm excited to play it. So overall, it was a wonderful experience. I don't have any regrets. I wish that I could have gotten in on the Last of Us signings or the Uncharted signings for the meet and greets and to play a lot more of the demos. I only got to play a few, but better some than none. And I was able to buy a lot of merch this year with a lot of the t-shirts. So I'm really happy about that. But no famous people sightings. I really didn't see anybody really on the floor like I had in past years, which it still doesn't take away from, it was just magical, this whole experience. I will definitely go again next year. It had some good parts and bad parts, but overall I loved it, and I would definitely go. I was like literally shaking when I saw that Days Gone booth. I mean, because we were like, you know, when we walked in, it wasn't anywhere on Twitter yet. I like literally, I died. I couldn't get over how incredible that was. I was literally jumping up and down like a little kid. So it was totally worth it for that alone, you know. So I hope you enjoyed this recap of my live reaction, my live perspective from the showroom floor. It was such an experience, and I can't wait to go again next year if I can. I really hope I can. So thanks so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite things from PSX this year was, what you wanted to see, what you were excited that you saw online from the panels or anything. Let me know in the comments below, and thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back with more.